For 100 years, Disney has been making magic and telling us when we wish upon a star, magic can happen. So they made a movie about it. Unfortunately, that movie is Wish. This is a Wish review. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and click that subscribe button. I know my voice is low, but it's not always this low. I'm down in the sexy range. I get it. It's trying for my Barry White. And so, yes, this is Wish. It is on Disney Plus. It has audio description from Deluxe by Michelle Deco as the narrator. So, it's got pretty high quality audio description for what it is. The movie revolves around a young lady by the name of Asha who is approaching her 18th birthday, I believe, and she's really hoping to become the apprentice to the king, who they live in this weird kingdom where it takes a minute to get, honestly, to figure out what the hell is going on in this kingdom. The king has a wish granting ceremony, but it's because all of his subjects have this ceremony where they give him their wish, so they no longer have it, and they don't even remember what it is. Like, it's plucked from their mind and then trapped in this little bubble, and he has wishes, and once a year he picks out a random wish and grants it. And so she's hoping to apply because I guess he needs a new apprentice, and a lot of times those apprentices, they seem to, I guess, curry favor and get their own wishes granted or their family's wishes granted, and she really wants her dad, who's getting up there in age, to have his wish granted after all this time. So she's trying to get in there. This is what they came up with for 100 years of Disney. By the way, if you read this, if you read the plot summary on IMDB, it's like a young girl wishes upon a mischievous star. It's like, okay, that happens like halfway through the film. Much later, she's joined by the star. We have to set up the entire, because this kingdom doesn't make any sense, so they have to set it up first. The king is voiced by Chris Pine. Asha's voiced by Ariana DeBose. They're sort of the two leads. The king, I think, is Magnifico. That feels right. So he's got like a dumb, sort of generic, villainish name. He has a wife, and yeah, she has a family. She doesn't have a love interest, which is, I guess that's different for a Disney movie, is that this is one of those rare films where the girl is not required to have a love interest, mainly because she's trying to solve all of these other problems instead. She finds out basically that the wishes aren't being granted, and there are a lot of wishes he just never intends on ever granting, and she's like, well, why won't you give them back so that maybe they could try to, do the wish themselves? And he's like, no, we don't. I'm not going to do that. And we realize that the king is the bad guy, basically, and he just gets worse as the film progresses. So it's Ariana DeBose versus Chris Pine in this, and it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't hate Wish, but at the same time, for 100 years of Disney, this film doesn't really stand out. I don't remember any of the songs. There wasn't, this is not Frozen. It is directed by Chris Buck, who's been directing stuff for Disney for a long time. And that's disappointing because I think it could have been better directed. I've heard a lot of people talk about the visuals on this and what it looks like, not being that impressed about just the way that things look and how clearly a lot of it is not traditional animation. Yeah, maybe they should have done hand-drawn animation for their 100th. That probably would have been nice, considering their studio consists of so much of it. There's certain songs in the movie that I didn't like because they reflect more of the period that we're in. They sound very 2024 instead of sounding timeless. And a lot of what Disney does sounds timeless. It doesn't sound reflective of any sort of genre of music or movement. But there's a song where the two of them are singing about like, I'll protect you, or I'll keep you safe, or whatever, to the, while looking at all the wishes before she learns the king is a douchebag. It's got this really sort of current radio friendly feel to it, and it doesn't need to. Disney songs have appeared on the radio without sounding like anything that's currently with them. You know, when you look at the movements and the jazz and the periods, we don't, the music in them doesn't suddenly reflect what's cool in music. You know, we didn't suddenly start getting rock and roll when rock and roll started getting big. It didn't suddenly start interfering with the animated Disney movies. We didn't suddenly start getting disco Disney movies. We didn't, when rap and hip hop came in, when it actually started to come in, it's not really affecting Disney movies. It's really tough to say, you know, what movie sounds like the time period that it was written in, and there really aren't that many. And they're usually not the ones, they're not the classics. They're not the ones that you remember. You have to look at Oliver and Company and say, well, that was because it was written with the music of one specific pop star who was from that time period. But most of the other films just sort of sound timeless. Little Mermaid just sounds like it could have been from anywhere. Cinderella sounds like it could be from anywhere. Jungle Book sounds like it could be from anywhere. Robin Hood sounds like it could be from anywhere. The Aristocats sound like they could be from anywhere. The Rescuers sound like they could be from anywhere. Like, they all have this sort of Disney song feel to it, and Wish doesn't have that. Wish sounds like it has songs that are trying to appeal to the crowd of today. And I'm not even talking about like anything like specific to what Encanto is doing by having a specific style of music that is representative of country or culture. That's not what Wish is. Wish just has music that sounds like it's just using weird studio effects. And it's like, it's the kind of thing that you hear nowadays on the radio, and you're just like, you know, people can sing. You don't have to put all this extra stuff on their voice. And suddenly I hear that in a Disney movie, and I'm just like, I don't know, this is not... Hire singers. You have Ariana DeBose. You know, we know she can sing. If Chris Pine isn't a good enough singer to carry this song, then hire a different actor. You know, it's just, I don't know. This movie just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But it's not bad. It's not a terrible film. It's just fine. I think if this wasn't the 100th anniversary of Disney, Wish would have just hit and been like, well, Wish was that, and it was okay. And, you know, I thought Strange Planet was fine, or Strange World, or one of those is a TV series on Apple Plus, and then the other one is the Disney movie. I thought that was fine too. This is okay. It's just not excellent. They're chasing. A couple of years ago, they had that sort of 1-2 punch with Frozen and Moana. And then it's kind of Zootopia, too, in there. They had a couple movies that worked. And that really hasn't happened for them in a while, outside of Pixar. So they're trying to, Pixar's struggling to figure out how to get their stuff out there, too, which doesn't help when you bury Luca on Disney Plus. Just saying. So yeah, it's this is not something that is necessarily going to be remembered fondly. Sorry. This is going to be always a second tier Disney title moving forward. This is nobody's first tier Disney title. Your kids are not going to be like, oh my God, Wish. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need Wish. I can't remember. I can't even remember how many times I saw Aladdin as a kid. And Little Mermaid. I'll say it. I was the boy who watched Little Mermaid 100 times. Yeah, but then there are other movies that I just didn't watch that much. You know? I just was like, all right, well, Oliver and Company, I guess. Whatever. I didn't care. So yeah, that's Wish. The audio description, of course, is fine. It's exactly what you would expect for a Disney movie. It does a really good job. The star is adorable. It doesn't speak. It's a non-verbal character, and they've done the best job that they possibly can in trying to give this thing a personality for the blind audience, which I think is really important because the star takes up such a huge amount of screen time once it's introduced. And it's this sort of like the quirky, some animal side character type thing that we always get. It's a Boo, basically. It has all of the personality, and focus. There's also a goat in here, but the goat doesn't do nearly as much and is not as important as the star is. But I'll acknowledge that there's a goat in here. Anyway, Alan Tudyk is in the voice cast, Victor Garber, Rami Youssef, Harvey Guillen. There's some other people in here, Natasha Rothwell. And it's just, they should have made a Mickey movie. That's my opinion, honestly. 100 years of Disney, should have made a Mickey movie. When you look at what they've done with their video games, with like Kingdom Hearts and Epic Mickey, they have found more ingenuity by using their original IP in video games, but they don't bring that to the screen. For some reason, they don't want to it's like they don't want Mickey to fail. Then if you have a constant fear of failing and you didn't even want to try, knowing that it's not like your 100th anniversary is like a surprise event. You knew it was coming. You could have had the best people on this 20 years ago. You know what I'm like? Wish could have been a project in the making, a hand-drawn traditional animation project featuring Mickey and bringing in some kick-ass songwriters, involving maybe the same teams that came up with conceptually Kingdom Hearts and Epic Mickey and some of those other video games, and figuring out how to give Mickey a feature film that stands right alongside all of the others, like Aladdin and Little Mermaid and all of those. And it doesn't feel like it's, one of the others, like the Three Musketeers or Mickey's Christmas Carol or any of those, but actually feels like it's a big feature. That should have been what happened. Instead, we got Wish. I'm going to give Wish a B-. Yeah, it's fine, but it's not great. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.